Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we are going to be reacting to a TikTok video. I will warn you, this video is a little bit longer than the typical videos I react to from TikTok. It's like 7 minutes long. I didn't even know that you can make a TikTok video that long, but I think it's really worth the watch, so stick with me. We will reconvene and I will tell you all my thoughts, but I think that you will find this video refreshing and interesting, so let's get into it.
So it's been a year since I started my OF and my spicy pages, and I just feel super anxious today, and I wanted to just come on here and share some thoughts on my experience so far. I'm kind of scared to share my actual thoughts, but I just feel the need to say them in case anybody who's following me here has any sort of desire to start this kind of thing. I want to start off by saying that I definitely have a really complicated relationship with this whole thing, and there are things that I appreciate about it and have appreciated about it from the beginning, but if I'm being so honest, there really are so many downsides. I'm trying so hard not to get like super upset while sharing this, but if I'm being honest, my mental health since I've started this has just slowly like been on such a decline. And I would say that it started maybe like honestly probably 7 months ago, where about like maybe 6 months into doing this, about 6 months, I started to get super burnt out. And while I did have such a strong start and it was so much fun in the beginning, after getting burnt out, I started to just feel really differently about like the types of messages that I was getting, and just feeling like sort of the effort that I was putting in to it still wasn't. I guess I'm trying to say there's no amount of money really that you can give me at this point, and I'm like willing to admit this now. There's no amount of money that you can give me right now to like make me feel like giving myself away in certain aspects, even if they're just a few photos or whatever online. It almost isn't worth it anymore. It's hard to describe this because I realize that when I have spoken about OF, that, it's typically been in a light where it's like, it's fun, it's art, you make money, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm being so honest, that really is like the only upside to doing it. Like just the ability to very quickly make extra cash. But I think again, like just over the course of a few months of like half a year or so, just going really hard at it, I think I didn't let a lot of like the messages get to me, but I was lying to myself, and I definitely think that it's like really worn on me over time. And it's not to say that I don't have like really good guys on there following me and like monetarily supporting me, even like checking in on me at times where I like, earlier this year I definitely disappeared for a few months, even on here. But even with that, like just realizing that even those people are not people that I would call when I'm having a really hard day just makes it feel just so fake. And I'm not sitting here saying that like I ever got on there to make friends. Let's be honest, it's really just to make money from a bunch of horny men. But I guess I'm just trying to say that just know that if you are a person who's ever been interested in doing this, or if you've like ever been curious about it, there really is just like such a like I feel a little bit dead inside. I feel completely desensitized, and I don't know, like not to sound funny, but I really don't feel any type of like desire or like attraction to men in general anymore. And that's also because of my my personal collective experiences that I've had with like dating like the wrong types of men and things like that. But I think with this line of work, men, you will never catch a man being more honest and more authentic and more real, and not necessarily in a good way, than they are and the way that they present themselves to girls who do stuff that I do. I can't even imagine what it's actually like for real life SWs. Like, I'm sure it's like 50,000 times worse for them. Like, at least to a certain extent, there's like a level of protection for me, just given that I'm like behind a screen, right? Like, I'm never actually gonna like see these guys in person or anything like that. But like, seriously, if I had any type of ability to share like the things that people have said, like the things that people have like the nerve to like DM me with, just like how disgusting they are. And also, I can't even count to you how many times the ones who follow me on Instagram, like when I get curious and nosy sometimes, like I'll go look at their profile and they have like a whole girlfriend or a whole wife. And sometimes, even disgustingly enough, they have kids sometimes. It makes me feel so conflicted with doing this. And a part of me just feels so prideful. Like, I feel like yes, it's been a year, not like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but I do still feel like I'm still so deep in it. And I think I'm just being prideful, but I just feel like, and I just don't want to quit, because I'm just not a quitter. Like, I always see things like to the very end, and I won't quit until I'm physically stopped. This being like my one creative outlet to like, or so I thought, to like express myself and like produce this work that like, you know, I'm really proud of. I do take a lot of time to go like rent these spaces and like get like certain types of outfits and like our lingerie really, and like do these shoots and like post them, and like editing is like a whole process. And like, there are lots of parts that I enjoy, but I think what ruins it is like when I really sit down to think about like ultimately like what the purpose of all this is. And it's really just to visually please a bunch of men who, again, a lot of them are disgusting. I've been sort of exploring the idea of maybe just having my content be focused on, you know, things that I'm actually interested in, which ultimately is not pleasing men in any way, shape, or form. Like, y'all can keep your money at this point. I don't know what I'm going to do. But anyways, if you made it this long, thanks for listening.
Okay, holy sugar and spice, that was long, but let's get into it. Finally, I made videos about OnlyFans back a couple of years ago when it got really popular during the pandemic and all of that, and there were so many girls signing up for it. I don't think that women thought necessarily about the true long-term consequences that this type of content can create. I feel for her in this video, so I say all of this with grace and empathy. I'm not here to hate on her or make her feel bad. We're not hating on this lady here, okay? That's not the point of this video. Please be kind down in the comments, okay? But as sad as it is to see someone have a bad experience and their mental health be negatively impacted by something, I think it's refreshing to see a woman finally speaking out about their bad experiences and the negatives in general, because it is abundantly clear the negatives outweigh the positives by a landslide for many people who participate. And I applaud people who can be honest and transparent about their experiences, and I believe it's important and crucial for young women and men to hear this message and understand, and really understand, the long-term consequences that our actions can have. Not to mention the negative effects of porn in general, which I'm saving for a completely different video. But I really wanted to further discuss some points that she made that stood out to me specifically, that I think we can pull some nuggets of wisdom from. So the first thing being, you are what you attract. You know, I make content for men. I shouldn't be surprised when 95% of my audience is men and most of the messages I get are from men, right? She mentioned, I started to feel really differently about the types of messages I was getting. And again, I think that leads me back to the point of, you are what you attract, and what you put out into the world is what you are going to attract back to you. And once she was burnt out, she felt differently about the messages she was receiving, because she probably got to a point where she didn't feel good about what she was putting out there, clearly, right? And what you're attracting ultimately reflects back to you. If you're attracting the wrong type of people, if your inbox is flooded with men trying to purchase a service from you or purchase nudes from you, it's probably not going to be a pretty sight, especially when you start something and you start it because it is art to you. You start it because you've been sold a lie that it's empowering, that it's a form of art, and you know it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows. But then as you do it, you realize that that is not the case, and you're actually just providing a service. It's not empowering. You're providing a service to, horny men, as she said in her own words. And I think once that clicked for her, as it does, I'm sure for a lot of women who do this, it's a lot less empowering. And the messages you're receiving start to look a lot different. And next, I want to talk about the reality. So she said that the only upside, again, her exact words, the only upside was the ability to quickly make money. And it seems like she was very successful in her time that she spent doing this and probably made a lot of money. But I think a lot of girls went into this industry and started posting this type of content because they were told by girls who were making a lot of money, hey, you can make a ton of money doing this. But I don't think that's the reality for most of the girls that were doing it, unless you're in the top, whatever, tiny percentage. Those are the girls who are making a ton of money. It's not just some random person posting nudes on the internet, making $50,000 a month, right? It takes a long time to build up to that. And a lot of women, I'm sure, put a ton of time and effort and energy into their content and still never get to a point where it's worth it or makes sense to them, right? Like, I think that's why a lot of girls did it initially. From the outside looking in, it seems like easy money. You snap a picture of your butt, you post it online, you make some dollars from the men who are following you, and that's all it is. But I think in order to get to a point where you're making the amount that these girls want to make, you actually do have to put a lot more time and effort and energy into what you're doing. She even mentioned she would rent out spaces, she would buy all these outfits. But I think mentally, it is not as easy as people make it seem because, again, you're being sold a lie and you think you're doing one thing when in reality, you're doing another. She said, in her own words, there's no amount of money you can give me at this point to make me feel like giving myself away in certain aspects, even if they're just a few photos online. It almost isn't worth it anymore. And she was kind of all over the place in her way of delivering it because she was upset, obviously. But really what she's saying is there's no amount of money that feels worth it for me. She also said that she was lying to herself about how this was truly affecting her. And she also mentioned something that I thought was really interesting where, men would reach out to her and ask her how she was, but they were never men or people that she would want to call in real life. The entire point is to make money from a bunch of horny men, as she stated. And that's exactly what it is. It's not empowering and it's not glamorous. You're providing a service and you think the service you're providing is disgusting because you're disgusted by the messages that you're getting. But you can't be surprised when you get that type of response when that's the type of content that you're putting out, right? I think there's a lot that can be learned here from a male point of view as well if you're a man watching this. If you're someone who consumes this type of content or watches porn, first of all, these girls think that you're disgusting. They would never want anything to do with you in real life. I'm sorry if that's harsh, but it's the truth. She said it herself. And it's really just horrible for everyone involved. It's not good for the person consuming the content, and it's not good for the creator making the content. She said, I feel a little bit dead inside. I feel completely desensitized. I don't feel any desire or attraction to men anymore. The purpose is to visually please a bunch of men who are disgusting. Let's just take a moment to really think about all of that. Let that sink in. Whether you're someone who makes that type of content or has thought about making that type of content or someone who consumes it. It's really not looking good from either direction. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to do what you're going to do. I'm not participating and I'm sitting over here happy and healthy. But I think it's important to talk about these things and to just shed light on the negatives. And there were so many women who commented on her video saying that they felt the same exact way and that's why they quit too. And it was just encouraging and refreshing to see women, being kind to her and agreeing with her, because a couple of years ago, if you said anything about OnlyFans, if you said anything about porn, people acted like you were a nun. People acted like you were a prude and you were just the worst person on earth. Like when I posted a video a couple years ago about OnlyFans, I had women DMing me on Instagram death threats, saying horrible things to me because I said that I didn't agree with OnlyFans and I think it's harmful to young women. Did I care? No, I said it anyway because it's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But I think it's important to speak out about topics and go against the mainstream sometimes. You know, privacy and your reputation is something that you can never get back. And I think a lot of women posted this type of content thinking, oh, I'll just do it, see how it goes, and then if I want to quit, I can quit. But they don't realize that you can never get your privacy back. You can never get your reputation back. If it doesn't work out for you and you go to get a real job that's on your record, they can find your nudes online. You want your boss looking at your nudes? I sure wouldn't. I mean, what you put out into the world stays there forever. The internet is forever. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And the last point that I wanted to take from all this, it's a little bit different than most videos I think that cover these type of topics, is the topic of quitting versus evolving. Because she made a point at the end that could resonate with a lot of you and could apply to many different aspects of life, not just OnlyFans, not just, spicy content. Realization is not quitting. Growing and evolving is not quitting. Sometimes evolving to the next stage of your life and really growing as an individual and discovering who you are includes leaving things and people behind, and that's okay. It doesn't make you a quitter. It means that you're growing and it means that you're moving on. And I'll be totally honest, even I resonated with this point a little bit because I've had this feeling with some of my own content. As I've grown and evolved, there are things that just no longer serve me. There are things that I don't feel good about posting. I loved doing the girl videos and having conversations with women. I really did not have bad intentions doing that. But what I didn't love was the response that it created online and the way that that made me feel. When I saw other channels reacting to the content and the things that were being said in the comment section, I just didn't feel good about putting that type of content out into the world, even if it wasn't my intention to create that reaction. And again, that goes back to you are what you attract. And I didn't want to be attracting that type of viewer to my video where we're just hating on people and we're blaming people and we're pointing fingers. I think it's important to highlight problems and issues and hold people accountable, but I think there's a graceful way to do that. And that's something that I'm navigating as I post content online. But really, the reality is that it's okay to stop doing things that don't align with your values. And if that means losing money or losing views, then so be it. True success is being at peace with yourself and what you are bringing to the world. And I've learned that as I've gotten older, and I hope that that's something that all of you guys, are able to discover for yourself too. I think our society defines success in such a shallow way. It's all about money. It's all about clout. It's all about having designer things. And as I get older and I have those things, I just realize that they really do not bring you joy. It's great to not be paycheck to paycheck and be able to pay your bills and be comfortable, but that's really the extent of it. And again, I think true success is being at peace with yourself and what you are bringing and contributing to the world. And, even something like OnlyFans, if that's, something that you don't feel is aligning with your values anymore or bringing you that peace, then stop doing it. It's not being a quitter. It's evolving and it's growing. So I know I kind of flipped this video upside down and took it away that most people don't normally go with content like this. But I think it's important when people are transparent and honest that we listen to them and then reflect on our own lives and the areas where we could improve as well. I don't think we get anywhere by being hateful and bitter or saying horrific things, vitriolic things about people in comment sections that we don't know. So again, no hate towards this girl. I think it's great that people are speaking out about it. I just think we need some more positive role models in our life, so I'm happy to share a refreshing message with all of you. So if you like this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. If you have any content you want me to react to, whether it's a YouTube video, TikTok video, you can tag me in the comment sections, you can DM me, email me, whatever floats your boat, whatever's easiest. I just really enjoy reacting to the content that you guys want to see and the content that you guys send my way. Also, I would love to hear your opinions down in the comment sections. If you're a man watching, what do you think? If you're a woman watching, what do you think? Do you have any experience on either side of the equation here? Would just love to hear some personal stories and experiences and opinions down in the comments. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.